And hello again, everybody. Welcome to edition number 11 of Vibeland Sports. I'm Todd Miller.
I'm Kelby Peterson.
And I'm Casady Fletcher.
And we are glad to have you along for a very, very big show today. We're going to talk 4 topics. We're also going to have Southwestern Oklahoma State women's basketball great Hailey Tucker on our show. So lots of things to get to. Guys, how's the week been for you? I know how your week's been.
Yeah, I spent
bedridden.
Spent the weekend in Monticello, Arkansas, and in Magnolia, Arkansas, and somewhere along the way, stopped at a gas station, ate a corn dog, and
food poisoning.
Bad move, huh?
Let me tell you, don't do that. So my public service announcement for the week is don't eat gas station corn dogs, and especially from a sketchy gas station in southern Arkansas.
You know, I probably didn't need that advice, but I appreciate it anyways. I mean, I've just been stuck in the cold, man. That's just powering through this cold weather here in Oklahoma.
But I'm not certain, KP, you don't trump our weekend still.
No, I mean, I had to hang out with some buddies and celebrate a friend in a really good way, and I got to go to a Thunder game last Thursday, sit in the 100s.
What do you mean celebrate a friend in a really good way?
My friend had a baby. And as the guys, you know, we got together. We called it the bachelor party, and we got together and celebrated my friend who had a baby. It's a pretty sweet deal for him. You know, all he did was have a baby, and we threw a party for him. So, you know
what you should have called, but you should have called medical science too if your friend was having a baby.
Yeah, right. I'm sure his girlfriend was thrilled about it. Our wives completely understood. Said, "Hey, that's the normal things that guys do." No, they all. We're like, what is this? And we're like, it's a reason to get together. And me and a bunch of my good friends got together. And
so the wives were not invited?
They were not. No, it was a man party only.
Hashtag man party.
Yeah. Yeah. We drank some beer out of a keg, played a bunch of games, were really loud. Women would have had fun. They would have had.
I'm not going to lie. That's a reason to have a kid.
Right. Just for that.
Yeah.
That's what they said. That's next. We should do this again without somebody having a kid, but more than likely someone else will have a kid and we'll get together and do the same thing again.
All right. Let's talk sports today, guys. Lots of topics to get to. And again, Hailey Tucker will join us in our second segment. Let's begin today. Lead off, if you will, in baseball with Bryce Harper's new contract. If you missed it, 13 years with the Philadelphia Phillies. $330 million. That's only the tip of the iceberg, though. He has a no-trade clause, and he cannot opt out. So basically, he is married to the Philadelphia Phillies for 13 years. Now, he had another option on the table. It was $45 million per season for 4 years with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Do you take the long-term security as Bryce Harper did, 13 years, or do you go 4 years for $180 million, and then you have a whole nother contract cycle when you're just 30 years old?
Oh, man. Look, $330 million is an absurd number for anybody to put on a contract in front of me, and I'd probably have a tough time not signing that thing, but you look at
so it's $45 million per year.
$45 million per year might make me reconsider that and think, okay, if salaries keep getting bigger and bigger every year, what's it going to look like 4 years from now when I'm going through this again? And even on the back end of his career, he might have been able to sign a $200 million plus contract for the remainder of his services. So, you know, he might have missed out on some money overall, but he does have that stability now where he knows he has a job in the MLB for the next 13 years, and he's going to be making a lot of money.
The only thing I know about it, and I tweeted that this week, I wished I would have paid more attention to my coaches and worked a little harder in Little League Baseball.
Oh, man.
Right, yeah. You could it's that easy to make, you know, $330 million over 13 years. Just a little bit more focus.
Right
that
there.
was the difference.
And I'm not saying that he would have ever made that type money, but that right there is why if I'm Kyler Murray, I would have had a real hard time turning my back on baseball.
Yes, sir.
Because they do pay well. And he's not going to get Bryce Harper money or Manny Machado money, but he had a chance to make a lot more money over a long period of time, I think, in Major League Baseball. But it appears he's making the right decision. We'll talk more about that in a moment. What's your thoughts on Bryce Harper?
I think he made the right call. I mean, for himself, like you said, Casady, $45 million a year compared. 13 years at 330 million. That's 25, just a measly 25 million a year.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's, I guess Bryce Harper, he's trusting to say that, hey, I want this guaranteed money. I don't know what I'm going to be like in 4 years. I don't know what the game's going to be like in 4 years. Is the money going to be more? Is it going to be less? Obviously he wanted a long-term deal. He wanted to marry a city basically and stay there until, this contract kills that team. That's kind of what I wanted to ask you guys about. This contract reminds me of the A-Rod contract back in the day with the Rangers. The end of the 13 years. There's no way Bryce Harper is a Philly in 13 years, right? Like that's a consensus, right? His contract has not lived out. He gets traded, but in my is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Is it 10 years? How long does this go? We'll have to wait and see, but that's what I'm interested to get you guys' thoughts on.
But it has a no trade clause, so I think it's going to be really hard for him to be traded.
But can he opt out of that?
No, it's got no opt-out clause.
No opt, so he can't even waive the no trade clause. So he is a Philadelphia Philly for 13 years.
I'm sure that he and the Phillies probably could agree on something.
Exactly. Yeah.
But no, he has no opt-out clause. Here's my thing about it, and I'm with you. I think you take the money long-term for a lot of reasons. But if you're there 8-10 years, do you really think the Philadelphia Phillies all those years are going to be World Series contenders? I don't.
No.
Now, he's already trying to lure some big-name free agents, one of which is Mike Trout, who will be available in 2 years. And the Phillies say they still have enough money for him should Mike Trout want to come to Philadelphia. But, again, if you don't sign free agents, what are you going to have? Bryce Harper? They don't have one of the better minor league systems in baseball. So, maybe your point is, on down the line, they kick the can, they agree to go their own way. He'll go play for somebody that has a chance to win more titles or a title, and the Phillies can restock their farm system.
I'm just comparing it so much to the Rangers and A-Rod back in the day that contract ended up hamstringing the Rangers more than it did anything else. It killed them, and they were able to bounce back for a little bit, but it took them a while. It didn't take them that long, but the Rangers, that contract just murdered that franchise for a couple of years.
It did, and look, I wonder if he didn't take this 13-year deal thinking that's the window. They know what their championship window is now. And he's giving them time to get guys in there. And you can develop a farm system over the next 4 to 5 years. You can get some guys in there that are going to start producing when he's still, in the meat of this contract and still going to be producing at the levels you expect him to. But that is a gamble for sure. But if he's looking to win long term, I think he's at least has laid the groundwork saying, look, we've got one guy here that's committed, and see if you can attract other people.
I don't know though how Casady, he could even think that that's their window. 13 years. Do you know how much changes in 13 years?
Completely.
They may have a salary cap in baseball before 13 years.
That's a good point.
There are probably more franchises, maybe less by that time. So much is going to change.
There's absolutely no way to project that long down the road what the game and the economics of the game is going to look like for him in terms of being competitive. Again, because of that, I think the 13-year, $330 million contract does make more sense for him.
I think it makes more sense for him and less sense for the Phillies on their side of things. But as a player, you better believe it. If you're going to pay me over $300 million to play your sport, I'll sign up for 2 decades.
But I'll tell you what, they're already reaping the benefits at the box office.
Already.
Within a day, they had already sold, 4 million tickets?
Golly.
Individual, not season tickets, individual tickets. In just over a day after it was announced. So he's a drawing card. I know this. I don't care what he does. I'm glad he signed. I really am. This went on way too long, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's just.
I'm glad it's over. We said it last week. I said, are the Phillies finally going to step forward? We've known it's going to be the Phillies for a while, but again, these contract rumors that we're hearing at the end, the 4 years, $45 million per, the 13 for $330. It's just interesting to see how it finally played out. And like I said, I think Bryce Harper made the right decision. I don't necessarily know if the Philadelphia Phillies made the right decision.
13 years is a long, long time. The three of us sitting in this room may not be here in 13 years to even talk about it.
Who knows?
Wow. All right, moving on to topic number 2. Jason Witten is back in the NFL, a tight end now again with the Dallas Cowboys. Monday Night Football fans in general rejoice. You no longer have to look at Witten stiff as a board in a booth on Monday night. But as a Dallas Cowboys fan, does he make you that much better? I think he makes them better. How much better, I don't know, because he's better than anything they had on the roster at that position last year.
As a Cowboys fan, I'm rejoicing too, just for the record. Hey, I'm excited to see him clearly his decision to step away from the broadcasting booth. Sorry, I couldn't say that with a straight face. I think
now they can get rid of Booger.
There was a mutual parting there, I'm sure. But yeah, Witten coming back, I think what he brings is just more consistency than what we've had. I mean, we've had him for a long time. So the tight end position, I think the receiving core position was a big question mark for the Dallas Cowboys this year. They trade for Amari Cooper, bring him in, obviously create a target. It was going to be a receiver by committee. Obviously, that didn't work out. We now have an established group now. It's going to be Amari Cooper. It's going to be Michael Gallup. Is Beasley still in the fold? I don't know if they're going to be able to pay him what he wants to be paid. Is Jarwin going to step up now and be the number 2 tight end? Allen Hurns, what's going on with the receiving core of the Dallas Cowboys? And to have a set guy, a number 1 tight end, be able to come back, I think it's going to make the rest of the offense, the other guys have to step up in the right positions, give them more looks, because Witten's going to be a target now. This year when the tight ends lined up, they're not a threat. The defense isn't paying attention to him, so Cooper's getting more looks. So the over-the-middle looks aren't as open because of that. So with Witten back in the fold, I think it's a great thing for the Dallas Cowboys. And my favorite thing in the world, 3rd and 8, you better be sure. Look around. Jason Witten's running 9 yards and catching that ball falling just on the nose of a first down. The refs, with Witten's catching it, they don't even bring the markers out anymore. They know, it's an inch over, but it's over. He is just past the first down line every time he catches it, and that's what we need.
I think you're right. I think Witten going back makes them better. I don't know how much better, but he is better than, as I said, anything on the roster. But here's the problem you have, guys. In May, he's going to be 37 years old, and he was a year away from football. Now, his departure suddenly 2 years ago really left the Cowboys in a void because they were not expecting it. It blindsided them. They didn't really have a capable backup at that position. I think they suffered because of it last year. Here's something else of interest. What did Jason Witten do last year? And who did he talk to last year?
The head coach and GM of every NFL franchise.
He will have talked to 10 of their 16 regular season opponents from his job last year with ESPN.
Okay. Got a little behind-the-scenes look, inside the playbook, inside the minds of the coach.
Let me tell you, Dallas Cowboys, Super Bowl champs. You heard it here first.
Romo's coming back next. Romo's coming out of the booth. We've Patriots. We've won up the Patriots. We've gone inside, deep undercover. We've gone inside. Romo's coming back. It's going to be glorious.
Still have Jason Garrett. They still have Dak Prescott, but they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Jason Witten's all you need, man. He's my favorite football player of all time. My fantasy football team has been named after him for the last decade, and I'm very excited to see him come back, but my expectations are realistic. I think he's going to be pretty good, and he's definitely going to be an upgrade at the tight end position, like you're saying, Todd. And he could open up a lot of things for the passing game, like you're saying, Kelby. But overall, you do have to take into the fact that he's an aging guy that has already taken a year off of football. And I don't think he'd be coming back if he wasn't 100%. But his 100% is going to – it takes a lot more to get to it than it did 2 years ago.
And here's what he is. He's a great person. The NFL needs a whole lot more Jason Wittens.
Yes.
On the field and on the sidelines than the guys they have right now.
And really production-wise, he's not going to be not replacing that much. I mean, our tight ends last year, Jarwin and Swaim, accounted for 53 catches, so that's not a lot of offense to replace. I think he comes in, I'd say he goes above those catches. Those guys, they step up, and, maybe there's a guy in the draft, Todd, that might, have a connection to the show that might be a good fit for that team.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
I think that would be great.
Sweet.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? Okay, here's KP's favorite time of the show. When Todd says and announces, this isn't on the agenda, but we should talk about it. Antonio Brown, guys. Ooh. Have you heard the video from him this week where he says he absolutely wants football but doesn't need football? And he goes on and he's sitting in his mansion and he says, all this is paid for. I don't ever have to play again. I'm surmising what he's saying. What is this guy doing? He is absolutely killing the trade possibilities for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which he claims he wants. He wants traded.
He's really bad at job interviews, obviously. Somebody needs to talk to him about what it means to, sell yourself and telling people that I don't need this, and just not a good look for yourself, Antonio. I mean, not that he's been one to make smart decisions in the past, but, man, I mean, yeah, he's a heck of a football player, and you'd love to have him on your team, but maybe would you at this point? I mean, you don't want a head case like that on your team to disrupt what you have. I mean, if you're adding him, I don't know who you're going to be. Are you needing a big playmaker, or are you just adding a piece, adding another weapon? It depends on what kind of team you are, but that kind of distraction, if you're just adding a piece and a weapon, you can be gone and out the door real quick for talking like that and acting that kind of fool.
Yeah, I think somebody's going to be willing to take a shot for him.
They will, but he is really devaluing his
yes.
value in a trade.
And I wonder if he's not doing that intentionally just to stick it to the Steelers. And if so, then let me tell you, I am a huge Antonio Brown fan if that's what he's doing. Anything to make that franchise worse, I'm going to be about it. But that aside, that situation with the Steelers and everything else that's going on, what happened with Bell last year, and now what's going on with Brown, I don't know what's going on in Pittsburgh.
I think it's called Ben Roethlisberger is what I think.
Yes, sir. And he is just destroying that franchise from within. So, look, good for Antonio getting away from that situation.
Which, amazes me because, like him or not, and I do happen to like the Rooney family. I think they've been model NFL owners. It amazes me that all of a sudden now this franchise is in the disarray that it is, because under the Rooneys, they've been one of the more steady riding ships in the NFL for decades. And, I mean, they've just completely lost control. And, again, I think it all starts with egos. And then I think Ben Roethlisberger is a huge, huge problem.
If you're a Steelers fan and 3 to 4 years ago I grab you and I say, hey, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger, what's this team's future? And they would say Super Bowls at the very least. And this team has not even made it to a Super Bowl, let alone I don't think they've made it to an AFC championship game with that trio. And that trio is now gone, dissipated, and just Ben Roethlisberger. It's really
By the way,
sad to
did
see.
you like our bonus topic today? This is not on the agenda, but we should talk about it.
I've been wanting to talk about Antonio Brown and the Steelers for a while, so I'm glad we got to jump into it. It's mind-blowing. I've been wanting to say that Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown thing for a while. It just blows my mind. This team, if I was a fan of that team, it would just kill. That just is heartbreaking, but at the same time, you gotta get rid of it, and maybe you flush it out now before it's too late. So
KP, about half the time, if you look over there, is slumped in his seat, one eye closed. It's almost as bored as he can be on this podcast, but all I have to say is the magic words. And what are those?
This isn't on the agenda, but
and then he gets to the edge of his seat. All right, now let's get back on track. The Oklahoma City Thunder coming off a near embarrassment against the Memphis Grizzlies here on Sunday night. Had to rally again, shorthanded without PG-13. Your thoughts on the Thunder? I'll begin if you want me to. I think this team is not going to hold on to home court advantage in the first round. I think they could fall as low as 6, which if they're going to fall out of the top 4, I'd just soon be 6th, because you don't see the Warriors in the semifinals. But, man, they've got a tough schedule, and they're just so up and down.
I would say the consistency issue is what concerns me
too.
By far the most.
It's not talent.
No, and it's not effort. Those guys are still going out, and as far as I can tell, I'm never going to question anyone's effort unless I hear otherwise, but those guys are still out there busting it every single night. But come on, guys. I mean, you can't keep playing with fire the way that they are. You lose a lot of games that you shouldn't. In games that you should be winning easily, now you're having to go down to the absolute wire. Second nights of back-to-backs, you're doing this. You're wearing yourselves out, especially without Paul George right now. That team, everybody has to step up, and the problem is there's like nobody stepping up. So I don't know if Paul George really is just that important to this team, or if we're just seeing good old Thunder where they're just going to kind of coast through the All-Star break, or right after the All-Star break, and then lose to teams they shouldn't throughout the entire season.
I don't know if you guys watched the game last night. I went to it. And it was literally one of the worst first halves of basketball I've seen from a Thunder team in the 11 years they've been here. I mean, it was embarrassing how bad that was. And the only reason that they weren't down 20 in the second half like they should have been was for two reasons. One, A, the Grizzlies are a bad team.
They're awful.
And B, a bad team was not playing very well.
Yeah. I mean, it was frustrating to watch the offense yesterday and recently, and that, like Casady said, you don't want to get too far away from it without Paul George, but you don't completely lose your identity as an offensive team. I mean, as a basketball team, when your best player goes down, you shouldn't if you're a great team like the Thunder can be. But, I mean, just on offense, the ball's not moving. It's 1 to 2 passes, ISO, jump shot. Oh, well, that's not working. Oh, we're a bad three-point shooting team, and what we're doing is shooting a lot of three-pointers. Like, did Russell Westbrook get to the rim very much yesterday or recently?
In fact, I think he took 2 shots against Memphis that were inside the three-point arc.
Yeah, and that's not okay. Russell is a get-to-the-rim guy. There's every night when Russell steps on the court, it is an offense and defensive mismatch. There is not an NBA point guard in the league that can run with Russell Westbrook. Maybe Damian Lillard, maybe John Wall, which we won't see for another year and a half. So there is less than 3 guys, I would say, that can run with Russell. Every night he steps on the court, he's faster and more athletic than the guy guarding him, and he doesn't use that enough. I mean, he does real well, but when he's struggling, he goes to the pull-up jump shot. He doesn't go to the I'm going to run and be more athletic than you. He gets frustrated when he doesn't get the calls that he wants, so he's got to get away from that. But I just don't like to see this offense get stagnant, and defense too. How many open threes did we give up last night, guys? It's unreal. Just when Paul George is not on the court, we have to rotate better. Our switches are off. It's just – and with Markieff Morris getting in the rotation, there is some excuses there, but at this point in the season, you can't use those, and you have to be an NBA player and know rotations and know what your responsibility is on defense. And then we're just giving up way too many open shots to bad teams. If Memphis was a good team, they hit that 3 at the end of the game, by the way, and we're not in a position to win. So if that was a better team that we played last night, that's not just a loss but a blowout loss.
If Memphis were a bad team and not a horrendous team, they beat us 15 last night, just the way they played. And that's just inexcusable. I'm tired of the injury excuses. I'm tired of back-to-back excuses. You know what? That was the second game in as many nights for the Grizzlies, too. They had a big win in Dallas the night before, same night that the Thunder lost in San Antonio by 14. Just, I don't know. Again, it doesn't really matter, in my opinion, where they finish. If I'm right and I think they end up finishing 5th or 6th and they don't have home court advantage, there's not anybody they can't go get home court advantage from. But if you're not going to have one of the 4 spots or one of the top 3 spots, I'd soon finish 6th and avoid the Warriors at all costs until the finals.
Yes, 6th or 7th is the sweet spot below 4 for this team. And look, I still think that they have an opportunity and they have the talent, absolutely,
I do
to
too.
finish in the top 3
I do
in
too.
the West. And until they just go on a weeks-long skid, which I know they're not far from it right now, but I still think when Paul George comes back, I've got faith in this team, and I think that they're going to find a way to win enough down the stretch to at least keep home court. It may be 4th place by a tiebreaker. I hope they don't fall out of home court, because if they do, I could see them getting bounced in the first round again.
Thunder are 2-5 since the All-Star break. Most of those games were with PG-13, including the loss in Denver when they got so far down, came back, had a brief lead, then basically had nothing left in the tank, and ended up losing by about 8. Paul George played the night that Buddy Hield and Sacramento came in here on the back of a back-to-back set. So, I mean, yeah, they're a lot better with him, obviously, but they've proven they can lose to anybody with him, too. Yep. Where do you guys see them finishing?
Man, if you would have asked me this question last week, I would have said 3rd, no doubt. But this, again, I have to keep reminding myself that this is basketball. It's a season of peaks and valleys.
It is.
We're in a valley right now, no doubt, because, 2 weeks ago we were talking about how hot we were and whatever our win streak was at 10 of 11 or whatever it was. We didn't look like we could lose to anybody. And now here we are, thinking, are we going to get a home court advantage in the playoffs? So I don't think we go down to 5. I say we'd go no lower than 4, just because the other teams have a tough schedule too. And I hope that Todd and I and Casady would agree with this too. Our theory of the Thunder play better against better teams, I think that comes to fruition. We're just in a valley right now. I say we get hot, get back to our ways. So I say we go no lower than 4. I'm going to stick with that, but that might be with a little homer inside.
There is one thing coming up for the Thunder that does bode well for them. 10 of their last 15 are inside Chesapeake Energy Arena. That helps. I mean, this team has been out on the road a lot. As we record on Monday, the Thunder currently tied with Portland for 4th, both 5 back of Golden State. Only 1 ahead of 5th place Houston, who's 6 back, and only 2.5 games out of 6th place with the Utah Jazz. So, I mean, that's the problem, and that's the reason maybe I panic more than I should. Part of it's just a fandom deal and not always looking at things logical. But you cannot go on very extended periods of times of struggle in the Western Conference without eventually paying the price.
Yeah, that is the big problem in the West. Is it's so crowded. There's so much talent. And there's so many of those teams that could rip off a 10-game win streak. They could win 12 of the next 14. I mean, any of those teams that you just talked about, or the teams that are sitting in 7th, 8th, or 9th. They're going to go on a run at some point in the
And you're
going to
be playing them. So
yeah,
they're going to gain more ground on you on a head-to-head night.
But I still think that this team has the talent, and they're going to find enough ways down the stretch to win against these good teams. They're going to elevate to their competition like they always do. And I still have them finishing 3rd.
Thunder have a big week coming up. They have 4 straight away from Oklahoma City. One of those is a road game at Portland. So that's going to go a long ways. You already do have the season series in hand against the Blazers,
somehow,
which is very, very beneficial.
Yes.
It's not often we've been able to say that.
We had just won. This year was our first win at Portland since when? I don't remember the stat, but it had been a long time since we had beat Portland in Portland.
I don't know. The Denver Nuggets are now the new Portland Trailblazers for the Thunder. We've lost 5 straight to them. So anyway, hey, our Vibeland fan poll question of the week last week involved Zion Williams. The questions were A, should he play for the remainder of the season? B, should he sit for the remainder of the season? Or C, sit until the NCAA postseason? 51% resoundingly said play the remainder of the season, kind of like we talked about. Second place, sit until the postseason, 32%. Sit for the entire remainder of the year, just 11%. Thank you to all of you who took the time to jump aboard our Vibeland Sports fan poll question of the week on Twitter and cast your ballot. We'll be announcing our new poll coming up here at the end of this next topic. It is the NFL Combine. Kyler Murray didn't have to do much, but he won the day. He goes with a tape measure, 5'10". Everybody's really, really happy, except the national media, who are bummed because he's not what they thought he was.
Yeah, those months of just working out and prepping and stretching, everything that he did leading up to the combine, all those hard-working days really paid off when they took that tape measure out, or however they do it, and measured him. And he got the number that he wanted, and short people everywhere were mad, and 5'10" people everywhere were like, come on, Kyler, you're with us. You're one of us. So I think, he made himself a couple dollars.
Do you remember our conversation a few weeks ago when we were asking about fits that we thought would be good for Kyler? And I immediately said the Arizona Cardinals. Whether or not they would draft him number 1 at the time, I did not know. But the system there now fits him big time. Josh Rosen is upset. They have not done anything to make a commitment towards him now. And the scuttlebutt over the last 6 or 7 days is that Kyler Murray, especially after what he did with the combine and measured what he did, may become the 3rd Oklahoma Sooner quarterback dating back to Sam Bradford to be taken number 1 overall, and the 2nd consecutive OU signal caller to be taken number 1 in the draft.
I think that's the best spot that he could possibly end up for him. And honestly, for Cliff Kingsbury and the offense I'm sure he's going to want to run in Arizona, that's probably the best player they could pick up for their system. So I think their interests are aligned, and we're going to see Kyler Murray end up going number 1 overall, and that's crazy to even say, even as a
number
Sooner
1 of the
fan.
NFL, number 9 in Major League Baseball. How about that?
That's incredible. I mean, the athleticism on him alone is going to give him a good NFL career. Goodness gracious, what just a wealth of talent that he has, and what a hard decision you have to make. Am I going to go be a top 10 pick in one league, or am I going to go be a top 10 pick or the number 1 overall pick in the other?
I think he knows that he's going number 1. I think that Cliff and Kyler, I think it's just a match made in heaven. And if you're a rookie head coach, go draft and go get your guy, your specialty, quarterbacks. Offense is your specialty. You got to get the signal caller, a guy that you can have a relationship with from day one, build your careers together. I think that's a smart idea, and Kyler's a smart guy to use that strategy on. And I think it's a match made in heaven that's going to be successful for a long time. I'd said if I'm Kyler, I want the Giants just because I would like a year to sit under Eli, learn. Again, you don't learn how to throw like Eli, but I think you learn how to be a professional and a Super Bowl winning quarterback from Eli. I don't think he's a great NFL quarterback anymore. I honestly never really thought he was. How he has 2 Super Bowls blows my mind, but that's a good guy to learn from. And then to be able to hand the ball off to Saquon, throw it to Odell, throw it to Sterling Shepard, somebody who I'm sure you know and have a relationship with, even though your times at OU's, I don't know how they intersected. But anyway, I think the Giants would be the perfect fit for Kyler, in my opinion. But again, Cliff Kingsbury, number 1 overall pick, that all is just too appealing. And that's kind of the Kyler Murray story, just headline grabber, and might as well go number 1 overall in the NFL draft too, just to complete the cycle. So.
I am totally disagreeing with you on the New York Giants. I mean, you're talking about learning under Eli Manning. I guess you can
how
learn
to be a
some
professional.
Things. That's exactly right, but their games are not even anywhere close to being similar.
Exactly.
And while the New York Giants have overall better offensive talent than the Cardinals, they don't run that system.
Yeah, that's when I say learn from Eli, I don't mean anything in the like playing football on a football field. I mean all the off the field stuff, how to deal with the media, how to be a professional, how to come to work every day, how to be a successful guy, like learning from a Manning, how to do that kind of thing, not the style of quarterback
I've got
play,
because
they're completely different.
How
You're
about
right,
going to Arizona, where he's probably going to go and learn for the great Larry Johnson, who's probably in his final year?
Larry Fitzgerald.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, because that's a pretty good professional to learn from too.
I'll tell you why I said Larry Johnson, because of David Johnson. Put him in the backfield with Kyler Murray.
Oh,
there's some
man.
weapons right there.
Yeah. Larry Johnson, wasn't he a running back for the Chiefs?
And
the Pitt back in the day?
What do they call him? Grandmama or
Penn State.
Something like that. He was from Penn State.
Penn State, yeah.
So
He was a
anyway,
stud.
I like my place better than your place, but
That's fair.
that's what makes this. We need to debate more.
Yeah, right?
You and I need to become more rivals.
Yeah, and I need to stop agreeing with you guys. You guys make really good points. Kyler to Arizona is probably what's. I just went on like a long pitch on why that's going to happen, but then threw in that I think he would be great.
Okay, I'm going to throw you a bone here. Catch it. You ready?
Righty.
There it goes. Justice Hill had a pretty nice
I'd
combine.
say so. Again, another pro for OSU that I'm really pumped about. Number 1 in the 40, number 1 in the vertical, number 1 in the broad jump for running backs. We were talking about this earlier. Some guys, the combine doesn't do much for them. Quarterbacks nowadays, some of them don't throw. It's interesting why they don't do that. Justice Hill was probably going to be a mid-round guy. I think he made himself a lot of money because his numbers jumped off the board. He was and if they look at the tape, by the way, his tape is really good too, and these numbers just make it even more so. So I think Justice Hill made himself a lot of money, and it just goes to show you, body by glass. I mean, it's a real thing that OSU players talk about when they leave there, that Coach Glass gets them right and to get them prepared for the NFL. I know I'm sure he trained on his own too, but OSU, I mean, if you're a high school player with not getting looked at, go there. They're going to prepare you to play in the NFL. If you have the skill level, they will prepare you. And look at this, like kid out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, just puts out the best looking combine that people have seen in a long time. Made himself a lot of money because he was prepared because he went to Oklahoma State. Sorry.
Holy cow. Can you believe that just came out of this guy's mouth? I mean, we are going to bill Oklahoma State University for that promotional announcement. Yeah, go ahead and go there. They'll get you ready for the NFL, but you'll finish 4th. So,
hey, they're coming up. That's a good place to
They've
be.
been saying that for, let's see, I'm almost 50. They've been saying that most of my life, Kelby.
Hey, it's fun, man. It's a fun place to be.
It sure is, isn't it? What, 3rd or 4th?
Hey, I love Stillwater. I can't say anything about that.
You also like Rex Burkhead. So, are you a Nebraska or OSU fan?
OSU, sorry. I grew up Nebraska. My whole family was from there, but then once I stepped foot on that campus and was a student there, I mean, that school gave me an education. It gave me my job, lifelong friends, gave me a wife like that. I bleed orange. I'm sorry.
Do you really hear anything good happen to him there?
Just everything. Everything good in my life.
You know what? I just want to wear you out today. Is that okay?
That's fine. I got plenty of time.
All right. Let's get to this week's new fan poll of the week. We were talking about Jason Witten earlier. It's pretty simple. What do you expect from Witten next season in terms of what he can accomplish based on his 2017 season production? It's simple. A, duplicate numbers. B, he'll better those numbers from 2017, which he had, I think, 62 catches. Or C, will there be a drastic drop-off? Again, the fan poll question of the week: what you expect from Jason Witten next year in his return to the NFL in terms of basing it on his production from 2 years ago. A, duplicate numbers. B, better numbers. C, drastic drop-off. Stay with us. Coming up, one of the top female women's basketball players to play at any level in the state of Oklahoma will join us. Southwestern Oklahoma State University standout Hailey Tucker, a two-time Great American Conference Player of the Year, the league's all-time leading scorer and the second most prolific scorer in SWOSU history, will join us next. That's coming up on episode 11 of Vibeland Sports.
Hi, we are Vibeland. We are a creative network fostering and cultivating growth amongst a community of artists and innovators.
Here at HQ, we inspire young entrepreneurs to pursue their ideas and fulfill their highest ambitions. From producing albums to shooting multimedia content to our involvement with various charitable organizations within our local community, we seek to empower and spread knowledge through open source innovation.
We here at Vibeland look forward to the future and hope you will join us on this exciting journey. Create, innovate, educate. Vibeland.
Welcome back to episode 11 of Vibeland Sports. I'm Todd Miller. Glad to have you along today as we have a very special guest. It's Southwestern Oklahoma State women's basketball standout Hailey Tucker from Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Hailey, what a great senior season you've had, 27-1, and you just recently concluded the first ever unbeaten regular season in Great American Conference play. Has all this success started to sink in yet? And I guess the finality of it all coming up pretty quick, sinking in?
I don't know if it's sunk in yet as much as, we want to continue to, be excellent. I don't know how else to describe it, but, we as seniors haven't ever won a GAC tournament. And so I don't think it's going to sink in until we win that tournament. I think our full focus right now is on there. And so, it's awesome that, we are the first GAC team to go unbeaten, in conference history, but we're really focused on the GAC tournament right now.
What has been the difference between the Lady Bulldogs, Hailey, in terms of the regular season, because you're now two-time regular season conference champions, as opposed to some of your postseason struggles?
I've answered this question a lot lately. The conference tournament, anyone can win it. An 8 seed can win it, 7 seed. It's just everyone's 0-0 at that point, and everyone's going in there and they're fighting their hardest. What do they have to lose? It's like, we right now we have a regional bid, probably regardless of how we finish in the tournament. But other teams, they have to win the tournament to, continue into postseason, and they're fighting for their lives, as we always say. But we have something to prove as well. We've never, like I said, won the conference tournament, so we're trying to, make a little difference this senior year.
Coming out of Bartlesville, you were the school's all-time leading scorer at almost 1,900 career points. You had a lot of different offers with Division I schools, yet you chose a Division II school at Southwestern. What was the reason for signing in Weatherford?
Yeah, I actually took a couple visits right before Southwestern. One was 30 hours away on the East Coast, and then one was, 12 hours away in Midwestern. And then I just kept thinking, when is that feeling of this is where I'm supposed to be going to hit? Where is God leading me? Where am I supposed to, and that just kept, going through my head. And finally, my mom, or my coaches were in contact, Coach Anderson and Coach Music were in contact with us. And I was like, I'm probably not going to go D2, but let me just, go to Southwestern. My boyfriend, Nick Shoemaker, he goes there. I was like, let me just give it a feel. They've been so nice to me. I'll just go. And I got here, and immediately I said to my mom, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I said, this is the feeling. They have better facilities than some of the D1s that I visited. And it's just, as soon as I got on campus, Coach Music, Coach Anderson, all the team made me feel so welcome. And even the staff here, I've met everyone. And so it's just, I was very blessed that I was able to take a visit here and that I took the opportunity to come here.
You are really a poster child of what I've been saying for a long, long time. I think people get caught up as an athlete out of high school, and I have a chance to go Division I, and that Division I offer may not really fit your personality. You chose Division II because after stepping back and evaluating it, it really suited you personally and as an athlete.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. A lot of people get, like you said, caught up with, I went D1, but some of the schools that are recruiting, that are D1, they're never going to do the things that I've been able to do here at Southwestern. We're conference championships we're conference champions back to back. We have a really good chance at winning a national championship this year. And if I was somewhere else that, like some of the other schools that were recruiting me, I couldn't say that, and I've been able to do some individual things here that I know I probably wouldn't have done at the D1 level. And so it's just, high school kids, they do get caught up in the D1 aspect of it. But it's like, I came to a school where I'm getting an amazing education. I've been able to do things that are just out of belief, that I thought that I would ever be able to do here. It doesn't matter that it's a Division II school. Like, my team could probably beat up on some of the Division I schools that were recruiting me. So it just, just make the right decision for yourself ultimately.
Of course, back in the heyday of John Lofton and the Lady Bulldogs of the NAI days, you weren't even around. You weren't born yet. But I'm quite certain, Hailey, that you've been well versed about those players and the tradition of Lady Bulldog basketball. Now that you are on the cusp of ending your career at Southwestern, you think of yourself along with Jackie Snodgrass and Kelly Litch. Are you just blown away by the company that's surrounding you?
Oh, by far. I mean, Kelly Litch, I live with her nephew, so I'm well versed in Kelly Litch, but she's a legend here. So is Snodgrass. It's just really, really humbling, to be able to be even in the conversation with, Kelly Litch. Someone even asked me, like, when I first broke 2,000 points, they're like, do you think you're going to, become the all-time leading scorer in school history? And I was like, no. Kelly Litch has 2,700 points. I mean, that's insane. And, and she didn't have a three-point line. So just think about how many points she would have scored with the three-point line. So, no, but like I said, they're just two amazing women that have, paved a way for Bulldog basketball here at Southwestern. 2,200
career points, 852 career rebounds. Those points, number 2 all-time at Southwestern, number 1 to the history of the Great American Conference, and you're Southwestern's leading three-point shooter. If I would have told you 4 years ago, Hailey, coming out of Bartlesville, you're going to put that type of college career together, would you have looked at me and said, I'm not so sure?
Oh, by far, because, coming in freshman year, I wasn't prepared the way that I thought I was. It kind of humbled me real quick that first practice. And, if you would have told me that, I would have said, oh, no way, and it's just my coaches and my teammates have put me in, the best position to be able to have the success that I've had and to be able to have this team success that we've had. Our coaches have done an amazing job, and, everything just goes back to them. And I'm just so grateful that I had those two women in my life to help me with, what I've accomplished.
I'm going to tell you one of the best things I've ever seen on social media was Southwestern's letter to my freshman self before senior day in Weatherford. Talk about that experience and looking back now as a senior to your freshman year and what things you would actually tell yourself.
Yeah, once Coach Music had the idea, she's seen it around, and she told us, seniors, you need to write a letter to your freshman selves. And we didn't know what it was going for. We had no clue. And then she's like, okay, now you're going to read this letter in front of a video camera, and we're going to film it. And we're thinking, oh, man, we're about to, ball on camera. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, as soon as they played it before senior day, there wasn't a dry eye in the building, obviously. People have been with us on our journey for 4 years. And I think they feel it too here, and especially the community. They're so tight knit. And like I said, there wasn't a dry eye in the building, but everything that I said in that letter, like, I would just tell myself to, just stop and enjoy the moment more, because I always looked forward to the future and everything. And I just wish I would have gone back and just slowed down a little bit and just, like I said, enjoyed the moment more.
Hailey Tucker of Southwestern Oklahoma State women's basketball is our guest on episode 11 of Vibeland Sports. Where would you say that you have made the biggest jump from that freshman year to now? Is it mentally? Is it emotionally? Is it physically? Or has it been at all three facets of your game?
Probably all three. Physically, I came in weighing, 135 pounds.
Wow.
And, I put on 30 pounds of weight since my freshman year, if you can believe it. I know I'm still lanky and skinny, but, I've gotten a lot stronger. And I've just, mentally, like you said, I've become a leader, and that freshman year I would, sometimes freak out whenever some situation was happening or, something was not going my way. And now that I'm a senior, I have to, think about things differently. And if something's not going my way, I have to put it in a different aspect and, get through it. And, I've just overall changed as a person and a player throughout these 4 years. And I'm very thankful for it, honestly.
Obviously, Hailey, for the last 4 years, I've been on the other side of Southwestern women's basketball. And I think one of the things that I admire the most about this senior class is there's some really good players in it. Obviously, you and Hayden Pretty are two of the more decorated Division II era players that Southwestern's ever had. But it seems like that there's no jealousy. Everybody's games mesh together well, and it's all about the team concept.
Yeah, we all are, so successful, and Hayden is the leading career with assists here at Southwestern, and she's probably going to break the, GAC record, and I'm just so proud of her for everything. We came in here together, and, we're ending it together, and I love that. And, we have Savannah Gray, who she comes in any game, she's going to fire, and she's going to hit a three, and she has such a great shot from beyond the arc, and she's just so smart on the court. And then Katie Percival, her, she's such a great teammate, and she's never, once said anything bad about anyone. And, she works her butt off in practice every day. And, we just have a really great senior class, and I'm glad that all three of these girls were here with me, and we got to finish this thing out together.
Everybody will eventually look back. It'll be Hailey and Hayden. What was your relationship like with her, or was there one before you guys teamed up at Southwestern?
Yeah, we actually roomed at All-State basketball together. We, messaged each other and said, hey, let's room together. Since we're going to Southwestern together, might as well start doing this thing, and then eventually our sophomore year, we ended up living together. And then I obviously moved in somewhere else with my aunt because it's a little cheaper. But, she's one of my best friends here at Southwestern. We can literally finish each other's sentences. On the court, she can do something and I'll know exactly what she's about to do, and vice versa. It's awesome to have someone like that on the court, with not only on the court, but off the court with you.
This may sound like a stupid question, and I guess if it is, tell me, because you are a broadcaster in your own right. But have you guys been able to thoroughly enjoy this senior season the way you want to, because there's been so many expectations? You've been the favorite of the Great American Conference, but yet you've never won the postseason title. Have you guys been able to put those expectations and the pressures aside to enjoy the year the way you would like to?
Oh, I say there's never a dumb question, because if they are, I'd probably ask them. But no, that's not a dumb question at all. We've been enjoying it. After we won the regular, like when we clinched first place after the game at Southern Nazarene. We were happy, but also we didn't play very well. And so Coach came in and she wasn't happy with us. She said, we clinched, but we didn't clinch in the right way. We didn't play very good. So then we had to come out and play better the next game. But I just think that we're mature. And I think everyone on this team is mature in the fact that, we can be happy for ourselves and excited for ourselves, but also we've got a mission to do. And like you said, we haven't won the postseason tournament, and we're sick and tired of having that on our backs, and we would really like to enjoy that for once in this 4 years.
Talk about Coach Music, because she seems like she expects and demands a lot of her players, but nothing more than she expects and demands of her own self as a coach. Is that correct?
Oh, by far. She is hard on us, but she's harder on herself, and we try to help her out with that by, performing at our best. But ultimately, she tells us that she goes back on herself all the time, and she blames herself for things that are not her fault. And that's a great coach in a way. But we just, like I said, try to perform to our best ability, because she does expect a lot out of us, but she loves each and every one of us. And you can just tell by how she acts with us and how comfortable we are with her. I can call her right now and say, hey, what's up? I'm comfortable with both of my coaches like that. And it's a rare thing, to be able to say that I can, text her or call her and say, hey, what are you doing? It's very rare.
This year, you guys have been so much more dominant not in terms of just winning games, but dominant. I mean, blowing people out on a nightly basis. And there's been one big change at Southwestern. That's been a full court press. How did that go over with you guys, the older people on this team, when she said before the start of the year, look, we're going to change things up around here?
That's a great word when you said older people because
I said,
we are old.
No, you're not old, Hailey. I said older. So.
No, listen, I'm the oldest 21-year-old you will know because my body does not agree with me sometimes. And the first time that Coach Music said, hey, listen, we're about to run a full court press. And I'm thinking, okay, like what, like every other possession, maybe once a possession, No, she said 40 minutes a game, we'll be running this full court press. And I said, are you insane? Because listen, Coach Music, I am the slowest person on this floor at all times. I'm, not the best defender. I can play in the paint, but not certainly full court. And, I just had to put my full faith and trust into her after that because it's working. We never used to beat people by 30, 40, 50 points before, and now we are, and it's all thanks to the press. And I mean, nothing but gratitude towards Coach Music and Coach Anderson now for it.
Looking back as dominant as you have been this year, was there ever a tipping point in the season to where you look and go, hey, I think this press really could be the difference in us achieving the ultimate goals that we want to achieve?
Yeah, in the first, I was still a little skeptical about it because it was, a little rough around the edges. But as we got better with it, it was starting to dominate people. And because, what NCAA women's basketball can handle a full court press for 40 minutes without getting tired, and we have a great preseason that it helps us with it, and we are in very, very good shape. But yeah, I always go back to the Lubbock Christian game. Lubbock Christian, they're very well coached, very great team, and they had 25 turnovers or something, and they're a team that does not turn the ball over. They're smart, and so that's the tipping point when I was like, listen, this press is something else. This is what's going to get us, ultimately to that national championship that we want to get to.
And when I say this almost tongue-in-cheek, Hailey, because your offense numbers are still very, very good. You have a very good chance to be a 3-time Conference Player of the Year. But it looks like to me, in just the 2 games I've seen you play, your offense isn't quite at the level it has been in the past. Is that because you're expending more energy on that press?
I've had a couple of people ask me this too, but I think that we're just very balanced. I averaged 20 points last year, and now I'm averaging 19 points this year.
Yeah, it's a dreadful drop off.
Yeah, but I don't really get tired. It might look like I do, but I don't. I try to push through because I hate coming out of the game. I hate sitting on the bench, and Coach Music knows that. And she knows that I want to play 40 minutes a game. I mean, she knows that. But, I just think that we're very well balanced. We have, me, Hayden, and Tyra Aska, who average, well over 15 points a game. And so I just think it's awesome that we have that balance. And then ultimately it makes us a better team. I know that some people would like to say that they average 25 points a game, but I'd rather say, I average 19 and my teammate right under me is at 17, Right. So it's pretty great that we have that balance within our system.
You have 2 girls in your starting lineup that because of you and Pretty and the accolades that you've had, and deservedly so, I think people, and I don't mean you guys and Southwestern fans, other people overlook in Aska and Franks. Do you agree that they really are almost the straw that stirs the drinks over there?
Oh, yeah, and you would think that, people would notice him
right
by now. I mean, Tyra Aska had 36 points in a game this season, and Bethany, she controls the paint. I mean, she had 7 steals at Harding last week, and 3 of them were huge steals with 2 minutes left to go in the game when we needed her. And, they're a dark horse. I mean, they're a silent killer every time. And, next year Tyra's going to be a problem. I mean, she's a senior. She's going to be averaging more points since, there's going to be 40 points taken away from, me and Hayden and everything. But, I mean, they're definitely 2 of the better players in Division II. I mean, I say that wholeheartedly because, I have to practice with them every day and I have to go against them every day. So, no, they're definitely way up there in Division II.
Aska looks like to me somebody that you guys as seniors actually could go to and talk to and lean on them during any difficult times. Is that right?
Oh yeah, she's very level-headed. She's a leader in her own aspect. She's been a leader on this team since she was a freshman because people listen to her, and it might just be they're intimidated by her because she's so buff, but she's just a great person over inside and out, and just a well thought out basketball player. She's just, improved her game tremendously over the past 3 years. And it's just a respect game at this point with her. I mean, she's just amazing.
I have my opinion, and I think you maybe agree with me because you used the word balance when we were talking about your offense. Is this the best offensive team you've had in the 4 years in Weatherford?
Oh, by far. We just have so many attacks. A couple teams have tried to box and won me, but when you do that, you're leaving 4 people open, that can shoot the ball. And if you try to triangle into me or Hayden, you've got 3-on-3 with people, Taylor, Hedrick, Tyraska, Bethany, that can, take you one-on-one. And so, I mean, if you're trying to shut down one of us, the other one's going to step up. And so, like you said, we just have a really great balance of team this year.
I have seen you literally 2 dribbles inside the half-court line shoot. And it's a good shot. It's a good-looking shot. What's your range? Is it beyond half court that before you get uncomfortable?
Yeah. If I took a half court shot, Coach Music might beat me up for that. But in high school, I had to develop something different to my game because people were cutting my 3-point shot off, and so I just kind of was thinking, let's just take a couple steps back, and let's see how that works. And it's worked out for me. And in college, I've developed even more range and more depth to my game. So, yeah, I mean, I know people when I shoot that shot, they're like, what the heck is that girl doing out there? But, I almost think I shoot better from back there because once I get in closer, it's almost a brick every time. So
you're going back home for the Great American Conference Tournament. I've seen you play in that gym, and it's your most comfortable gym shooting. At least it doesn't appear that way to me. Do you feel pressure when you go back there and play in Bartlesville in the postseason?
No, not at all. I'm surrounded by, friends and family, but I will say that it is a high school gym. And so it's harder for me, as a deep 3-point shooter to be able to shoot comfortably in that gym, like you said. And, it's just, I have to take a different attack to my game, against actually Oklahoma Baptist last year. I had to shoot more of a mid-range attack game instead of use the 3-point ball. I think I only took like 2 threes that game or something. But it's very comfortable for me in the aspect of being surrounded by family and friends. But it's just a high school gym, so it's kind of hard to shoot in.
Okay, is it more difficult to get to the finals of the conference tournament or to win it? Because to me, if you get to the finals, you certainly have a chance, obviously, to win it. I think 3 straight days of basketball is very, very difficult.
By far, yeah, and especially running this full court press, we're going to have to try to beat up on some people so that the starters can get some rest, But we're built for this, though. Coach always talks about that, and in our preseason we talk about that all the time. 3 days of straight basketball, that's hard. But we're young, and even though I say that my body's old, my body can take it, and any 21-year-old should say that, and. But our coaches have prepared us for this completely, and we should be ready for it.
Okay, you win 27 straight after losing your season opener. What clicked? I know it was the first game of the year, but what clicked for you guys in the immediate turnaround from the loss to Emporia State to the win over Missouri Southern?
I think it was just the fact that, it was a loss, and it was basically 2 losses back-to-back since we lost to Fort Hays State in the regional tournament. And we were mad. That's not how we wanted to open our season up. And now, every time that we look back on it, we just, it infuriates us. And, of course, we wish that we could go back and, replay that game and see how it would go to this day. But, I think if we played it today, we'd be fine. But, it's a first opening game. It was just nerves, and, we weren't clicking like we're clicking now. And so, it's just overall, it's just, the first game of the season.
All right, let's talk about something else, and I really respect you for this, your broadcasting career. How'd you get interested in broadcasting?
I always grew up on sports. My mom and my dad, they've always had a football game or a basketball game on the TV, and my mom is a very competitive sports person, and I would always see, Erin Andrews or someone on the TV that I was like, man, I want to be her. And, I've just always been interested in it. And I love sports, and I love football, and I love watching sports. And, ultimately is just what I've always wanted to do. I don't know.
Have you ever been an analyst? I know you do sidelines and such, or even play-by-play. Have you tried your hand at that?
Yeah, actually, it was the Great American Conference soccer tournament, the finals against Southwestern, and I believe it was Harding. I'm not too sure, but it was at Oklahoma Baptist. Was it Harding?
I think
OBU.
Yeah, this year?
Yes.
Yeah,
it was
OBU.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, see, that's how much I. But,
You remember, you take away from it.
Yeah. But yeah, I did actually play-by-play with Joey McWilliams, and he helped me a lot because I have no clue about soccer. I couldn't tell you one thing about it, and he helped me out a lot, and it was just a great experience for me to be able to, do that for the GAC, and I'm just so grateful that the GAC even would, allow me to do something like that and have trust in me that I could do it. So it's just an awesome thing, that the GAC gives opportunities to its student athletes like that.
I was going to say, you've had some really good opportunities at 21 years of age and younger to get your foot wet in broadcasting. You work a lot with the Great American Conference Network. You've done an internship, I believe, in Oklahoma City with one of the TV stations, and you even do sideline reporting during football season. That's a full plate in addition to being a student athlete.
Yeah, but I'd rather, like you said, get my foot wet now than later. Yeah, Doug Self, he's our sports information director here at SWOSU. He's helped me so much with, helping me get experience in being the sideline reporter for the football team and helping me with, opportunities with the Great American Conference. It's just been, I've been very blessed to be able to do all these things because, like I said, at a D1 program, I probably wouldn't be able to do these things. And so I've just been, like I said, very blessed to be able to, get this experience that I'm getting.
You mentioned Erin Andrews. Who's been broadcasting influences on you?
The biggest ones?
Yes.
I mean, Erin Andrews, of course. I see this blonde, pretty woman on there, and I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do, But, Doris Burke, there's just so many people out there that I just, relate to and that I would love to, learn under. It's just, I just think that everyone is so great. And, Leslie McCaslin for, the Oklahoma City Thunder, she's amazing as well. And I just, watch them and try to learn and study and, see what I can do better to improve what I've been doing.
I've been a huge fan of Doris Burke, and I'm going to tell you what, she is a pioneer for women's sports broadcasting, I think, having cracked through into doing some play-by-play and certainly as color analyst. What's your thoughts on her work?
Oh, by far. She's paved a way for women to be able to be in this industry. And, I like her because she's a fire and, she doesn't take anything from anyone. And, it does make me mad whenever, I know women and men both do this, but I've only, been around men whenever they say, oh, that girl doesn't know what she's talking about, blah, blah. I'm like, she does, she's worked her way to get there and she's worked very hard at it. So, getting to be respected as a woman in the sports industry is very, very hard. But, I'll try my best to, get respected.
I know that you're hoping you have 3 or 4 more weeks left in basketball, but after your career is over, after your time at Southwestern is finished, what do you want to do? Do you eventually want to work at a national level?
Yeah, I'm not too sure right now about, going overseas and playing professionally or what I'm going to do. But, yeah, I would love to, get my foot in the door and maybe work at a major network or maybe have to start small and then work my way up. I'm not too sure at this point, but I'd love to figure it out. So if you figure it out, you'd let me know too, because your guess is as good as mine.
I will do it, but when you do make it to the big time, just don't remember us little fish, okay?
Oh, yeah, right.
Appreciate the time, Hailey. Congratulations on an absolutely brilliant career at Southwestern. Good luck this weekend in your hometown of Bartlesville in the GAC tournament and going forward into the NCAAs.
Oh, and thank you so much for having me on here. I'm so humbled and blessed that you've asked me to be on this program. Thank you so much.
Hailey Tucker of Southwestern Oklahoma State women's basketball visiting with us here on episode 11 of Vibeland Sports. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this. Welcome back here to our final segment of Vibeland Sports, episode number 11. Casady, I have had a chance now for all 4 years of Hailey's career in Weatherford to watch her play. Yes. She's a terrific young woman, very talented, and she's going to do things even better beyond her playing career. She's got a bright future in broadcasting, but I know a lot of people around the league are not sorry that the sun is setting on her days in Weatherford.
Yeah, absolutely. She has torn up the league for all 4 of her years since she's been here. And look, as a fan of Oklahoma Baptist, who's also in that league, I'm happy to see her go. But I hope that she has a very bright future, like I know that she will.
Anything from you, America's brightest orange?
Man, other than just taking off my OSU Homer glasses over here and checking my blood pulse, and it's still orange on the inside. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to another good week of sports, and there's another great interview, Todd.
All right. What do you guys think quickly about our fan poll question of the week. How do you see Witten's production next year?
I think it's going to be similar numbers. I think we'll see something close to what he did. It's not like he had a career record or season in 2017, so they're going to involve him enough in the offense that he's going to get his touches and he's going to catch a few touchdowns, and he's just going to be a solid production player.
Here's one thing that's changed for him, Kelby. He has a downfield threat now that he didn't have back in 2017. Now, you still have Dak as your quarterback, but again, I think that adds another layer and dimension to what will be able to accomplish.
I think he might. I might go on a limb, guys, and I think I might say better numbers. My reason being is the deep threat in Amari Cooper. Dak is a year more comfortable. He did have a year off to get a year older, but Jason Witten didn't miss a snap in his NFL career, so he got a year off for that body to recover. I'm sure he was staying in shape. Yeah, a year older, but that body's a year healthier and a year less banged up. So let's see what it can do. I bet he doesn't have a lot left in the tank. I bet you when he retired, I don't think he thought that was his last season. Now he knows this is it. Lay it all out on the line.
And I'm going to say this for ESPN. I hope you're listening in Bristol. You caught a break. You caught a break, and I'm very serious about this. They need to take advantage of this break and bring somebody very high quality into that Monday Night Football booth that has been lacking now for a couple of years.
I think Jason Witten had an ability, possibly, but you don't. I mean, like I said, I think I said this to somebody earlier in the year.
You don't start him at the pinnacle.
You don't teach somebody to swim by throwing them in the ocean. You put them in the kiddie pool first, which is probably like a MAC game on Thursday. You don't. Hey, here's a ocean filled with sharks, doggy paddle. That's how you do it. Go.
I think they thought they were catching Tony Romo again.
Yeah.
Lightning in a bottle, and it just didn't work. All right, next week, guys, we've got a great podcast coming up for you. Alec Boehm, who played at Wichita State last year, was the 3rd overall draft pick in Major League Baseball's college draft, will be our guest. Hope you'll join us for that. Until then, for Casady and Kelby, I'm Todd. This has been episode 11 of Vibeland Sports, a presentation of Vibeland Media.